Hail, hail, adventurers, and welcome to another exciting episode of Fantasy Forge. I'm Cameron Holt, and today we're going to be making some more D&D Pokemon fusions. It's been a while since my last video, but luckily, I should have some more time to dedicate to Fantasy Forge than I have in the last couple of months. The sketching portion of all of these fusions were done live on Twitch over at twitch.tv/Arcanarama, where I am the Dungeon Master for the Arcanarama D&D 5e homebrew campaign. We give away free 3D minis and handmade dice made by me every single Saturday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, so be sure to tune in and give us a follow for your chance to win some stuff. It's a good time, and all of us at Arcanarama would appreciate your supporting what we do. But enough chatter. It's time to take some D&D monsters and smash them together with some Pokemon. Let's go. Our first fusion of the day is between Caterpie, the abundant bug type, and the Gorgon, a strange metal bull that petrifies its enemies. This should be an interesting matchup. Deep in the arcane forests of Hoston, where magical creatures grow and evolve alongside the elves, lives a curious insectoid stag. Known as Storsey, these odd creatures are akin to caterpillars, but are the size of deer. Traveling in packs, Storsey roam the forest floor, feasting on leaves, fungus, and small woodland creatures. Though not innately threatening to humanoids, it's best to steer clear. When startled, Storsey secrete web-like strands at predators that quickly harden into a shell that's hard as stone. If you find yourself rounding a tree trunk in the forests of Hoston and coming face to face with a pack of Storsey, do yourself a favor and back away slowly, or else you may find yourself as a permanent fixture on the forest floor. Our next set that's ready for fusion is Kabuto, the revived fossil Pokemon, and Medusa, the Greek legend-inspired creature that can turn you into stone with just a gaze. A lot of petrifying monsters this time around. Deep beneath the surface of the earth stretches a strange and alien expanse of fungus, glowing minerals, unknown civilizations, and dangerous monstrosities, known as the Underdark. Though surface dwellers don't know much about this treacherous expanse or its inhabitants, aside from the stories told by the Drow, or Dark Elves, that immigrated to the surface centuries ago, there are some familiar faces. It's said that long ago, a village of goblins attempting to elude capture hid themselves away in a cave near the Vigilant Sea. Whether trapped or by choice, the goblins found themselves in the Underdark for generations. An incredibly adaptable people, goblins quickly became accustomed to their new environment. Their dark vision quickly became superior to that of their counterparts as their skin tones grew more pale. Their most fascinating discovery, however, was of a strange genome of arthropods, easily mistaken for smooth stones on the darkened subterranean floor. The goblins used these horseshoe crab-like creatures for everything, as a food source from their innards to armor crafted from their shells and chitin. A particularly prolific goblin artificer even discovered that the shells could be ground into a powder and combined with a local fungi to create a satchel of powder that can paralyze and even petrify threats to the community. In recent years, members of this goblin community have found their way back to the surface, but remain an enigma to most that they meet, especially the surface-dwelling goblins that now more peacefully coexist with the other humanoids of the world. Should you come across a pale goblin in a tavern adorned with the carapace of an unfamiliar creature, try not to antagonize them, or you may just find yourself as a statue before too long. On to the next. The Pokemon side of this fusion is Exeggcute, the Pokemon that's basically just a bunch of rotten eggs, being mixed together with a water elemental, egg elemental, egglemental. Nice. Most adventurers know better than to find themselves trouncing into a dragon's lair. But most adventurers also know that a dragon's lair is most likely home to a hoard of wealth, potions, magical items, and weapons. In some very rare cases, the lair may also be a nest, home to an elusive and rare alchemical ingredient and potential weapon, the dragon egg. But everything is not always as it seems. Legends tell of a fearless ooze that creeps its way into the dragon's lair while it's away. This ooze, known as the dragon's egg ochre, has a particular appetite for unhatched dragons. They have a sixth sense for tracking down these eggs. And when they do track one down, they use a sharpened pseudopod to form a small hole in the leathery shell, through which they squeeze themselves to devour the delicious proteins within. If you find yourself in a group that's brave, or reckless enough, to enter a dragon's lair and manage to get your hands on the drake's unhatched young, be sure to check the shell very carefully, or you may just find yourself contending with a dangerous acidic surprise. Our last fusion of the day starts with Paris, everybody's favorite little mushroom crab, and ends with the Gynosphinx, an almost all-knowing lion centaur with a penchant for riddles and magical tests. What a nerd. You may be familiar with myconid colonies, massive communities of mushroom-like fungal humanoids that thrive in the damp darkness of the Underdark. You may, however, be less familiar with the legendary myconid sphinx. Said to be the result of an ancient ritual, the myconid sphinx comes into existence when a myconid colony is lucky enough to encounter the elusive stone crab, a large and solitary crustacean that possesses a surprising intelligence. The myconids surround and corner the stone crab, and begin releasing their spores, coating the creature and clogging its joints so it can't move. Over the course of a few weeks, the colony guards the body of the stone crab as the spores spread their way through the creature's nervous system, sprouting and growing on its back. Eventually, a new consciousness is born from the myconid that sprouts as the creature's head and torso, gaining control over the stone crab's body and mind. This new being, the myconid sphinx, leads the colony for hundreds of years, providing its knowledge and counsel to those it deems worthy. If it's knowledge of the Underdark you're after, you can seek out a myconid sphinx, but be wary, adventurers. If you don't pass the sphinx's tests, you may just become nutrients for the colony. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you like this episode, be sure to like this video and subscribe to Fantasy Forge. If it's your first time with a D&D Pokemon fusion, there are plenty more to check out in the playlist on your screen right now. Tune in for more fusions, D&D terrain building, and much, much more. I'll see all of you in the next video. But until then, stay safe out there, adventurers.